Hey, to whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, know you'll stand tall. Sat and watch from the sidelines, one too many times, wicked games we play, make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude, knowing it'll be over soon.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Contrary to the Culture. I am your host, Jaysa King. This podcast has been created solely to explore the depths of cultures around the nation. We will have interviews from experts, challenge the mainstream ideas surrounding the cultural identities in our society, as well as make sure we touch on misconceptions we have about. All episodes are brought to you on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. on all major podcast platforms, not to mention my website, audacityofwomen.com. There, under the podcast tab, you can find transcripts from every episode. In order to know how we're doing, I need you to show us some love. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, comment your experiences, but most importantly, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the episodes. Now that that's done, let's jump into our episode. Welcome back to Contrary to the Culture, everyone. And let me start by saying it is a solo episode. As always, I do my best to make sure I am touching on content that relates heavily to our culture, whether this is from ethnicity, race, nationality, however you view it, or within our genders, within our lives, lifestyles, things of that nature. Long story short, we gonna get into it and we gonna make sure we are accurate. Okay, so today's episode is called Competitive Women. If you have been keeping up, you know this is supposed to come out back in July. Y'all, life happens. We're going to keep it pushing. So, like I said, today's episode is going to be just that. We are going to dive into the culture that I have observed. Okay, so when we talk about that accuracy, this is really getting to. This is what I've observed, what I've experienced. Obviously, this is not the case for everyone, but that does not make this conversation any less important. Okay, so as always, make sure you tune in every Tuesday, y'all. Even on the Tuesdays when you think I'm not going to post something, still tune in and catch up on the past episodes because we always have something going on. This month in August, we are focusing on education season, which means I obviously have an amazing roundtable at the end of the month. So make sure you get your tickets now. They are available at audacityofwomen.com. So go ahead and get them while you can. All right, let's jump into this episode. All right, so as promised, competitive women from my perspective. This topic is important to me because I found that when jumping into the business world a little bit more, I've been exposed to different people. I've been exposed to different experiences. I've had the opportunity to learn more about myself and how I operate when working with other women. And one common thing that we have also discussed in previous SheEO episodes, if you don't know, SheEO Talk is also available on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. Yes, I just did my own ad, Mind Your Business. We also talk about competitiveness within the community of entrepreneurs for women. A lot of that comes up in every interview I've done because that is huge, right? That is major. That is something that women can't seem to get out of. Now, for me, I would say these traits are obviously not seen in every woman. It is seen in women that feel intimidated, right? And when I think about this topic, I have to understand the why before I can give a shit about how I'm going to fix it, at least for my environment. Everybody's a little different. Now, what I mean by this is that I have to understand why people feel the need to compete with other women who feel the need to give. Okay, not every woman that is in the position of experiencing a competitive woman feels the need to compete back. A lot of the times they just want to be there to support, learn what they can, and build together. Again, these are all my experiences, conversations I've had the privilege of having with other women, and they all have the same personality type. Their stories with these competitive women is always this understanding that they will never be on that person's level. So they feel like unless they are competing, unless they have this drive to push and be this monster every time it comes to the business world, they won't make it. And that is what is mind-blowing to me. That is what I don't understand, especially when we are in this world of men, right? This is no bash on my men. Guys, you are absolutely amazing. However, when it comes to this world that is specifically structured for men, we need to help one another. We need to be in a position to understand that there may be somebody that's better than you at something, but that does not mean that we can all not eat. Okay, that phrase comes around all the time. We can all eat. There's enough of the world. There's enough money in this world for all of us. So why is that we always put ourselves in the position to be better than someone and constantly throw it in their face? Why is it that we gatekeep? Why is it that we feel the need to make sure that that person knows we are superior to them? Okay, so that is my big question, my why. Now, let's jump into me actually caring about how I'm going to change it. Because let me be honest with you, I'm the type to just walk away. I'm the type to step out of it. I'm the type to go find people that are actually going to support my vision instead of trying to adjust and make sure people understand that that's not necessary with me. So, for the people that are more inclined to adjust because it's probably somebody in your circle that you've been working with, wanting to build something with for a very long time, and you're starting to see their true colors. Now, what I would say is, again, this is all my skewed bias perspective, but I would say it's very important for you first to make sure that person knows what those actions look like, because everyone doesn't experience themselves. I say that phrase to my husband all the time. People do not experience themselves. You cannot stand in the mirror and talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone else and expect you to feel the way that person may feel or have that same expression that that person may feel. So it's important for you to make sure that you are being open to expressing what that feeling is from that person. And that person also has to be willing to take in whatever you're telling them. Now, let me start by saying this. That does not mean everything that someone tells you is right, okay? But that also doesn't mean that the things that are being told to you are wrong. I think that there is always a very fine line between these things, and it can be quite difficult when you're trying to decipher whether or not that person is telling you something because they are jealous or they're in a state of failure and they feel like they need to bring someone down to their level. You have to understand that everyone is not in that negative mindset. You have to be willing to understand the people that are in your corner. So if you're questioning whether or not that person is telling you something of quality or to defeat your dream, you need to surround yourself with better people. If you have to question it, it may not always be that person. You may not be in a position to receive people yet, and that's okay. That's not always a bash at your character, your personality. That's just where you are in your journey, and that's something you need to also be self-aware about. Okay, so getting back to what we need to do in order to adjust this, okay? I, again, focus very heavily on making sure you're giving someone a heads up. You can't just go willy-nilly, go crazy, ignore someone and expect them to fix it because you thought of it, because it was in your mind, because it was something that you felt needed to be addressed. No, if you do not give that person a chance to actually work toward their efforts of being better, to not express this competitive behavior, how can you expect that person to do any change, to do anything, because you did not open them up to what was going on? Okay, so these are my things. And I want to focus heavily on it from the perspective of culture. We should not be in a position to feel the need to be competitive when we can't even buy groceries. We should not be in this state of competitiveness when we are trying to build kings and queens. We are trying to establish legacies within our families, within our children. How is it that we find the time to be jealous, to be intimidating, to fight with other women who are going through some similar shit that you're going through, and then feel good about ourselves? That's what blows my damn mind. I am at a point where I am learning to not post everything. I'm learning to be humble. I'm learning to just be open to new experiences, to the wonders of learning. Okay? These are all things that go into being an amazing woman on the entrepreneur career side. You do not always need to boast about the things you have going on. In a way, I would say that's a form of competitiveness. You are trying to constantly convince others that you are in a great position. You're trying to constantly convince others that you are top dog. And it's one thing to promote yourself and let people know that you have a skill set that you have mastered and that you're here to contribute to their success. You're here to contribute to their journey, and that you're open to making relationships. It is another when we are constantly opening our door to shout out what is for dinner, what you're having that dinner on, and who is coming to dinner with you. Okay, we don't always need to know that. It is okay to have a little mystery in your journey. The same thing that we say to our little girls. It's okay to have a little mystery about yourself, but we are in a position to constantly feel the need to express how amazing we are. We are going from being confident and skilled to arrogant and boastful. Okay? Competition isn't always saying, I'm the winner, I'm going to win, I'm the best. No. So at times it's understanding when you don't need to express how amazing you are. Okay, it's understanding when you are able to express the lessons you need to learn, because it's inviting people that have already learned that lesson into your space and making them feel confident the same way you feel confident in other spaces. We cannot get in this constant mindset of feeling better than others just because we are good at a certain skill, or we're good in a certain environment, or we are capable of building a resume. And that doesn't mean a physical one, people. That means you have this long experience of what you are good at, what you have done, showing people constantly. Every day is not a job interview. Okay? And I say this very lightly because I do believe you never know who you're going to meet. You should always walk into a position the way you want it to be, right? However, again, sometimes as women, it is okay to be vulnerable. It is okay to be soft. It is okay to not run with that very male-heavy, dominant perspective, and allow other women to feel welcome in your space, because we are all running on full dominant mode all the time. So again, I understand wanting to be a top dog. I understand wanting to feel as though you are the bread and butter, because you are. You absolutely are. But we also need to understand that we are waiting for people to give us a shot. We're waiting for these people to open their doors in the real world. So when we are looking for these spaces of friendship, we're looking for these spaces of partnership within business, how do we expect to approach it in a way a man would and expect to get feminine responses? Okay, so this leads me into my next aspect of this topic, friendship. Something else I have come across as a woman in her mid-20s is it is damn hard to make friends. It is damn hard to build relationships outside of a goal. And again, this is relating to business. It is very difficult because, again, unless we are working towards the effort that we initiated our friendship on, which for me is usually a business one, there is nothing outside of that. It is very difficult to find people who are not constantly focused on that goal, who are actually looking to get to know the real person and not the monster that is out here ravaging through the business world. I am the type that I love a quality relationship. That is my motto. That is what I give back to my clients, to the people I have on my podcast. It's not the overstimulating business professional side, which I do have that. I make sure everything is clean cut, and sleek. Ooh, y'all, I try to say that 6 times fast. I try to make sure everything is in its place. However, what makes me different, what separates me from all the rest, is I communicate. I give them someone real. I show them I am a person, I am a woman with vulnerabilities. I remain feminine when it comes to that relationship. Now, in my emails, again, I'm going to give you a little personality, but I want to make sure you know that I still mean business. But when I step out of that role, when I give people this space to come and talk to me. How in the hell can I expect them to feel comfortable to talk to me if I'm constantly in monster mode, if I'm constantly in this beast of an entrepreneur that doesn't show people the real me? That was the same way we got to the podcast. My first year of doing my podcast, I'm like, yo, I am so tired of watching these fake YouTubers. Why is it that everyone is so hell-bent on being this fake image or pretending to be something they're not? I can't keep up. I want to learn about how to do my hair, but every time I watch a video, I always see their end results. Show me everything. Show me the real you. Be raw. Be real. Be you. So I know, okay, you're not trying to sell me. You're not trying to just keep it business because you got money involved. You genuinely care. And maybe that's asking for too much. Maybe that is me ranting and expecting women to step out of trying to provide for their families and build a relationship. You know what? That's it. I am outing myself. I want a friend, and I blame others for not holding that same standard when it comes to business partnerships. I am a sole believer now and in the future that you cannot mix business with pleasure. Let me say that for the record one more time. I do not like to mix business with pleasure. Experiences, boundary setting is very difficult once you've had that moment. So it is very, very understandable when those business relationships or business interactions do not flourish into an amazing friendship of years and years. Every business person I think of right now has probably started with a friendship that has not gone very well. So you know what? Scratch that. If you don't want to be friends with that person you've met through business, screw it. Don't. However, I still stand on what I said. We do not need to compete with each other to understand that we may not be the best of friends at the end of it. However, it is okay to let someone in. It is okay to not run as the biggest lion in the den. It is okay to let people know that you've made mistakes, that you continue to make mistakes. I get it. Everyone is not for you. Everyone is not good. Everyone does not have a heart of gold and is going to do right by you. Having your precautions in the background doesn't mean you have to walk around so heavy all the time. Put your armor to the side. You're not going to get hurt by giving someone the tools to be just as great as you are, to creating a space that really opens a door for amazing women to do amazing things that they have been setting out to do for years. That is something else about women. We are amazing nurturers. We are creatures of great passion and intent. So the moment we take a step out and decide to do something for ourselves, whether that is taking a damn bath or just starting something we have dreamed of for years, we do not need to constantly walk into these spaces feeling like someone is going to take it from us or remind us that we still have so much work to do. Those small feats, those small wins mean so much more when we are surrounded by people that understand the difficultness of what it took to get there, what it took to just make that decision. So I ask you, competitive women, what will it take for you to see the light and step aside, to see the light and focus on building other women up to be like you? And please do not respond with, this is tough love, or this is how I do it, by showing them that I am the biggest person, that I'm competitive, that this is what we're going to do, that if you can't compete, then you're not going to make it. I don't want to hear that, because at the end of the day, they have some skills that you probably never knew you needed. And because of that hard shell, because of that armor that you are walking around with, now they can't even get to theirs because they're so focused on other shit that they didn't need to focus on before. Yes. Now I'm speaking to my other ladies that aren't very competitive. We need to toughen the fuck up. Okay? We do. We do need to toughen the hell up. We do need to understand that this world is not going to baby us. This world is not going to make us feel all warm and cuddly because we don't want to compete. We don't want to fight back. We just want to be here and do our amazing thing. We want to, we want to just contribute to the craft, the field, the niche. So many things that's wonderful as Standy. Toughen the fuck up, because they're not all going to be your friend. They're not all going to be here for the lovely lollipops at the end of the rainbow. Most of them just want to make their money and get on with their lives. So that's okay. Identify that early. And if you choose to walk into that relationship, if you choose to be in that space with that person without the benefit of something genuine after, that's on you. This episode was about competitive women, yes, but it also puts the responsibility back into the hands of the people that complain about these types of relationships and continuously walk into them. So I get it. We all want the cuddly friendship that we see on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. Sometimes it doesn't exist. Sometimes you will not find your forever business partner in one experience. Sometimes you're not going to find it in that competitive woman. Sometimes opposites attract. So you never know. Everything isn't to be against one another. Most of the time, we find the comparisons within our differences. Anyway, y'all, you know I can go on, but I'm not, because this is all I had for competitive women. I want to make sure we understand that no matter what we are talking about, it is never going to be one-sided. We all have a responsibility to each other, to ourselves, to our goals, to our passions, interests, and people surrounding us. But if we cannot sit down and actually talk about both sides of it, we're not going to get anywhere. And again, I know everyone is going to have their different experiences, perspectives, and comment on it, but this is my observation, things that I've had the ability to gather from this topic, and I'm always open to a conversation. So you know what it is. Contrary to the culture, I am Jasa. This is another Tuesday where we are touching on these topics within various cultures. I hope to see you next time. Bye.
All right, that was our episode. Thanks so much for listening to Contrary to the Culture. Again, I am your host, Jasa King. You can find full show notes from today's episode at audacityofwomen.com under the podcast tab. Let's connect on Instagram at Just Jasa Podcast. There you will find clips from our various segments and more information about yours truly. If you're loving the podcast, I'd be so honored if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave me a review. Until next time.
Ever need a boost, count on me for the 1-2. Trouble don't last when the tough get going. Baby, all we do is win, so show me my opponent. Adversity, doubt, stress, could care less, cause how we handle those like an S on our chest. Super proud of how we held it